Hello everyone, and welcome to this video on the soft effects in NUKE Studio. On the previous videos I showed you how to create this sequence and how to edit it by using our editorial tools and our editing layout. Now in this video we'll have a look at the soft effects, how we can create them and how we can tweak them and apply them into different shots and even as a video track effect. So let's start. Soft effects are GPU real-time effects that you can apply to clips or tracks in your timeline. You can find them on the This menu here on the left-hand side at the end of your editing toolsets. You can see that we have quite a few. So we have transform, mirror and crop. Then you have time warps to do any retimes with keyframing animation on them. Then you have grade, LUT, CDL and color space to do any color work that you need on your timeline, either by applying a LUT or by making your own grading or by applying a CDL and doing some grade that you're going to export through LUTs for another package. Or you can use the color space soft effect as well. And finally, you have the text node soft effect to do any credits or the slides that you need to, or legals that you need to add into your show. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the transform. But before I apply any of the soft effects, one thing that I want is to make sure I have a properties bin somewhere on my layout. In this case, I'm actually on the timeline workspace, so I won't have one. But I can add it very, very easily. I can just right click on any of my panels, windows, and find my properties. Add it, and now I have it here on my left hand side. Remember, you can make your own workspace or add any panel into any of the current workspaces. So let's add now my soft effect. So without selecting anything, if I add a soft effect, it will be added to the clip that is under the playhead, and it will be added into the whole length of the clip. Now, in the case of a transform, what I get is I get a widget that allows me to transform that, obviously with all its properties. So translate, rotate, scale, skew in X and Y, which I also can do through the widget. If I select the circle around, I'll be able to scale it proportionally. If I select from the middle, I'll be able to move it. And if I select either of these corners, it will be to skew my image. Or you can scale it non-proportionally by selecting one side or the other side on the circle. So that's how you can transform an image and reposition it. Now let's do a little bit of grading. So I'm gonna just go and add a grade. Now I can do it through right click on a clip and go effects and find the soft effect that I want to add. In this case, it's going to be a grade. You can see that is a blue one while the transform is purple. This is going to be really useful as your timelines become quite big to be able to recognize which effects are actually added into each clip and not have to kind of figure out which lines or things are happening around that. So in this case, what I'm going to do is now I have my properties here for my grading. And if you're used to a three-way color wheel, for example, this is going to be very handy for you. You have lift, gain, and gamma here, so I can actually open the color wheels for each one, and I have my three-way color wheel. And in this case, the character have come kind of into a darker place, so let's do a little bit of kind of a colder look. If we look at the previous shot, actually the light is quite warm, so let's keep the warmness of the highlights, but let's make the gamma a little bit cooler. So you have a little bit something like that. And then if we want, we can actually make the blacks a little bit, kind of lift them a tiny bit. So to that, I'm going to use my right click button here, and that will allow me to just push the value up. So I'm happy with that grade. And now I want to apply that same grade to other shots. Well, there is quite a few ways to do it. One is clearly we can copy and paste it. So if I go to my next shot and I select it and I do Ctrl V, now I can just pasted that grade onto that shot. Now there is another way that is a little bit nicer, which is I'm going to come into the next one. Let's do it in the next one. And is by cloning a soft effect. That way I keep kind of the reference between the two. If I select the soft effect while I'm on a different clip and I press Alt K, I'm going to create a clone. So now those two are the same. If I change anything on one, will change on the other. Cool. So that's how you can add and stack different soft effects. And you can stack as many as you want. Now, another option they can do is apply a soft effect through the whole of a sequence or through a part of a sequence. Very useful when you're adding text or when you want to do a crop into a sequence and you want the letterbox crop. So for example, I can go and add here a new video track. So I can do right click on the blank space, new video track, select the video track, and now apply a soft effect to that track. And I'm going to add, in this case, a crop. So you can see now I have a crop all through my sequence, and I can decide, oh, I want that to be cropped like that. And now the whole of the sequence is cropped to that size. Or I can use the presets on the properties of that crop. I can go and say, hey, I want a 235 cut, and now I have that all the way through. So now you can see how I have not much trouble with the size of this guy based on that. So that is how you can use your soft effects. Last but not least, I'm gonna show you very quickly the time warp. So let's come into this shot. For example, we want him to walk a little bit faster at the beginning or something. So what I'm gonna do is right click here, and I'm gonna go effects, and I'm gonna do time warp. Now the time warp is based on frames, but I can have my curve editor and see if I frame it by pressing the F key. Now you can see here I have my two keys. So that's where it starts, that's where it ends. And I can start adding keyframes through that timeline if I wanted to. Let's say I want him to be a little bit faster from here till that point and then keep slowing down. So I'm gonna add a keyframe by doing Command Alt, and I can add a keyframe and I can push that higher so it's a little bit faster, and there you are. So now I'm doing that bit where that part is gonna be a bit faster, and then it's gonna slow down into a final walk through there. So you can keep adding keyframes. So if you wanted, I could add another one here and bring it down and start doing funky things. No trouble. In this case, just select and erase it, and I'm happy with this. So those are our soft effects, and it's a way that you can do really quick changes on the timeline, doing grading, transforming, retiming without having to create a comp. So very good for client attempts and finishing on your shows. On the next video, we'll have a look at create comp special and create comp and the export structure. So I'll see you there.